Some people seem as though they were born to serve, and today's guest has spent most of his life doing just that. We'll talk with County Commissioner Stan Karwoski on this edition of Oakdale Update. Our guest today has quite a resume. He served on the Oakdale City Council for 4 terms and was elected mayor in 2014. He's now serving his 5th year as Washington County Commissioner, and he joins me in the studio. Stan Karwoski, thank you for joining us in Oakdale Update. First of all, I want you to tell us about yourself. Give us your background and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and raised in St. Paul on the east side, and married my wife in 1979, graduated from Harding High School in 75, and we had our first house in Mounds Park, but wanted to move to the suburbs, so we picked Oakdale in 1987 and have been really happy here since then. We raised 4 kids. We both have 5 grandkids, and in the 1990s, after being a regular parent involved in family activities, I said I'd like to get on a park and planning commission, and I got appointed, and that evolved to wanting to serve on the city council, and I was elected in 2001 and was in my 4th term when the mayor position opened up, and I was elected to that and serving for 2 years as mayor, and then unexpectedly the county commissioner position opened up, and I was retiring from a 38-year career at Graco. And I got encouraged by some good people to run because it's really a full-time job. My wife says it's more than a full-time job, sure. And I've been elected to that since 2016. Really enjoying it. I get to represent 8 cities, but my primary and biggest city is Oakdale, so I get to work with the Oakdale's council and Mayor Reinke, and it's going really well. Okay,
so you're Washington County Commissioner. What exactly does that mean? What does a commissioner do?
Yeah. Well, I represent 8 cities. There's 5 commissioners, so we represent the entire county, and we work on activities together, the 5 commissioners. So we run the county libraries, the major roads such as 10th Street in Oakdale, the large regional parks such as Lake Elmo Park, and then half our budget is social service programs, those that people in need, everything from child issues to senior issues. County government is kind of the invisible layer. It's kind of quiet behind the scenes.
Sure. They're not, they don't get much PR, do they? Not much publicity.
No, and that's a good thing because people really like our county, but in a way, it's a bad thing. I'd like them to know what we're doing. I'd like people to know that I'm their representative and they can call on me. So
do you get many calls of people checking in, or if there's complaints? I suppose you just hear the bad stuff,
and we get a lot of compliments,
oh, you do?
Especially during I get probably at least a few emails every day following up on people's concern, whether they have a parent that has some housing or nursing care issue, to the pandemic, to a road project or some need that they want something added to a park. But I enjoy that interaction with the residents. And then I represent 8 cities, so I'm always interacting with the cities.
What are those 8 cities?
Well, Oakdale's the biggest city,
yeah.
And then there's Landfall, the northwest corner of Woodbury, a small portion of White Bear Lake, Willerny, Pine Springs, a portion of Matamidi, and the city of Birchwood Village.
Unbelievable. So what does that mean? Do you have to go to council meetings just to see what's going on and everything
Yes,
too? Huh?
yes. Last Friday, as an example, I was at the small Birchwood Village for their 100th anniversary celebration.
Really?
I didn't need to be there, but I think it's the right thing to do when you're a public servant. I had a resolution made up to celebrate their 100th year that we voted on at the county level,
Oh,
and I
that's
read
great.
to the audience.
That's great.
In Oakdale, as an example, worked with the city council, Mayor Renke, on the Hadley 36 interchange. And now we're working on the Ideal Avenue, which has been renamed and is County Road 13. For that road can be improved to support the 3M home development. And then we're working together on the Gold Line. So I get called on and attend city council meeting when there's a county issue on the agenda.
You mentioned that county Ideal Avenue is now County 13.
Yes.
So why is that? So it hooks up with County 13 and Woodbury? Radio
Yes.
Drive. Radio Drive.
Yes, yeah. And so at some point a road gets big enough and significant enough that it's hard for the city to manage, and it becomes more of a natural road for the county to
Oh, darn.
snowplow and maintain.
Right? I didn't know that.
So 13 actually now goes over the Hadley 36 bridge, so that makes sense for the county to maintain that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a nice road now. You guys redid it last year.
Yes.
I think last year, year before. Nice
Yeah.
road. I love driving it. Every morning and every night I got to drive that road and I just love it.
Yep.
Enjoy it. Okay, so let's go. There's a lot going on in Oakdale and in Washington County, of course, but let's just talk about a few things that are pretty important. The Metro Gold Line. Give us a quick rundown on that.
Well, it's bus rapid transit, Gold Line. It's in its dedicated guideway, which means that it will go from downtown St. Paul, hook up to the Green Line, which is light rail, and it will go from through the east side of St. Paul, through the Metro State campus, through the 3M business campus, and then along Old Hudson Road and have a Greenway stop, Greenway station, and then a Helmo station, and then it'll go into Woodbury and end there. It's 10 miles, and with the dedicated guideway, the buses also will simulate light rail, but the bus rapid transit is less than half the cost. And the study deemed that that was the best product. It's more flexible, and the infrastructure to keep it running is less. And people can get to a job. Maybe they don't want to have a car, or maybe they have to get to a medical appointment, go to the theater. They can go downtown. The Gold Line will loop around downtown, or they can hop on the Green Line and go over to the U of M campus for a sporting event. And in fact, tonight I'm going to a workshop on the Greenway station in
really?
Oakdale.
Oh, cool. That's really
Yeah,
great.
and I want to point out a couple things that really, not only is it bus rapid transit, the buses will come every 10 minutes during rush hour, and then off hours they'll come every 15 minutes. You won't even need a bus schedule.
Wow.
And you can prepay. They'll have flat stations that will be heated, no steps on the bus.
Oh.
And then because of the line, we're getting all sorts of grants for infrastructure that the cities don't have to pay, like a sidewalk down Greenway. The 4th Street Bridge is going to be expanded to 4 lanes, including a pedestrian walk path over 694. And then we're also getting a new Helmo-Bielenberg Bridge over 94. And that's all done at no property tax dollars. And that Bielenberg-Helmo Bridge was in the long-range plans of the city of Oakdale and Woodbury's, but they would have never been able to afford it. But because of the bus rapid transit paying for 2 of the lanes, but I serve on TAB, the Transportation Advisory Board, and we got a federal grant for the extra 2 lanes for traffic, so it'll be a 4-lane bridge with pedestrian, and that'll
That's
take
the 4th Street Bridge, right?
4th Street, and then also a new bridge, Helmo-Bielenberg. So then that'll take some pressure off of the Inwood Radio Drive Bridge.
Sure.
And,
Hey, The buses we're talking about, are these like city buses, or what kind of buses are they?
No, they're a special bus. In fact, we're going to have some electric in our fleet, and we'll convert to electric as that technology becomes more reliable. So we will have some electric buses. They're going to be very comfortable. They'll have Wi-Fi. For security, they'll have a camera and a video screen for people getting on and off. And also the road is designed that where they can, they'll be sweeping corners, not right corners. So you'll, like on a light rail, you won't be, as much as possible, they'll have sweeping
or the bus
corners.
that has trouble going around the corner, correct? I mean,
Yes.
they'll just slide around the corner.
Slide
right?
around. And then another new bridge is actually a bridge that will go over, it'll be dedicated to the bus. It'll go over Century Avenue into the 3M complex. But we had them added on the assistance of the community input. We had them add a pedestrian bridge. So if someone wants to bike or walk to work from Oakdale to the 3M campus, they can do that. Everybody knows how difficult it is across Century Avenue there. And really put a lot of citizen input to the Gold Line Bus Rapid.
Okay, you hit on a lot of things I'm going to ask you about, but the Bielenberg-Helmo Bridge, let's go over that one a little bit. I'm trying to, I get confused. I get visualized. Helmo Avenue, it's going to go over 94, correct?
Right. Helmo
There's nothing
Avenue,
there now, right? Nothing there.
There's a four-way stop at Helmo and 4th Street that'll just continue on over where the home furniture is.
Yes.
Basically, the bridge will go over right in that area and go.
So this is a driving bridge now? It's not
driving with cars
Yes.
and pedestrians, and then a dedicated lane for the bus rapid transit. And what's really nice is it's spurring a lot of economic growth and tax base. And when businesses grow, that means the homeowners won't have to pay as much tax. It helps supplement the growth, adds to the tax base for that. You don't have to do it on the back of the homeowners.
Sure.
So there's over $1 million right now going in around the Helmo station. And that development would have happened anyhow, but it would have happened much slower.
Sure.
And it would have brought many more cars. But now that transit's going to that station, people can ride transit to that, so it lessens traffic.
So the bus is going over the freeway on Bielenberg, and then up by the movie theater, isn't there? Is that going to be the way station? Or
That'll
something
be
there?
the end stop.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's beginning and the end, and circle around and come back, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Every 10 minutes, and then where there is a stoplight, it'll pretty much be synchronized.
Oh, cool.
So it'll flow nicely.
So I'm sure you did enough studies of this. Are you going to have enough passengers to make this worthwhile? I mean, I know that the Twin City Transit Line buses, they'll never make money. They're subsidized, something fierce. They'll never make money. What about these buses here?
Yeah. It will take time for it to be cost effective, but we have to put that infrastructure in transit now for that we have less congested roads. 94 can only take so much. So in 2014, they thought the bus rapid transit was the best product, the lowest cost investment, the best return. Adding a lane to the freeway just is not feasible. It's multi-lanes right now. You can only add so many lanes. So this actually then will allow the freeways to be a more pleasant drive for those that elect to drive a car.
Okay. So now the Radio Drive pedestrian bridge that's over I-94, that's already in, isn't it? Isn't that in?
Yes. It's a really nice bridge, dedicated. You don't have to have any threat of getting hit by a car. And what was nice on that is a few years back we expanded the width for an extra lane of driving.
Oh, yeah.
For that traffic would flow better in Oakdale to Woodbury and back and forth. When they were expanding it was very economical to add that pedestrian bridge. And there's hotels and restaurants on both sides. So over time we expect that pedestrian bridge to be used more and more.
Okay, that's good. Okay, now the other one, and I know this is a June 22nd meeting you had with City Council in Oakdale. And one of the things that came up was about the Century Avenue. Apparently somebody or the the county or
Yes.
the highway department is doing a Century Avenue study.
Yes.
I mean, that's a mess, but go ahead, tell us about that.
And this is a part of a job as a county commissioner. You have to be very forward thinking, and you have to set expectations. And having been on the city council of Oakdale and a mayor for a few years, we've all been frustrated with the Century 36 stoplight.
Yeah.
There's no imminent plan of when that would be made into an interchange, but I'm going to push on that subject. It'll be a joint project between us and Ramsey County. We've already met with the mayors, and the county initiated this study with a grant from MnDOT, and we want the input of all the city leaders. And we're going to I won't let this die, because I know too many of the elected. We've all been waiting for it to happen, but I'm pushing on this to make it happen. Our plans is to start a coalition, and this study is concluded. It was slowed by the pandemic. We're going to get the findings in the coming months, and then we're going to build off those findings, get a coalition started, try to gather money for that. In the coming years, we can get a dedicated interchange at 36th and Century. Now, both directions, Century 120 and 36, are both state-owned, so we have no responsibility.
Okay.
The state wants to turn them back, and we're not going to accept them unless they're state.
What do you mean turn them back? Turn back to the
Yeah,
cities?
it's a term where it's really 120 Century Avenue isn't really a state highway. It's more of a county road.
Okay.
We're not going to accept that road unless it's turned back and converted at no taxpayer dollars. Our property taxes. No one in Oakdale should have to pay for that upgrade if they're going to turn it back to us. So we're getting a coalition together, and we want it to be a state-of-the-art road, a modern-day road that'll serve many years into the future.
Okay, what would you be doing with that? What's tentatively planned? An underpass, an overpass, a cloverleaf,
Yes.
or what's going on?
Yes, I believe Century Avenue would stay at its current grade,
Yes.
and the 36 would go over the
Over.
top. And that, when they designed that pedestrian bridge, that was designed future thinking, so hopefully that would not have to be replaced. That would be a prudent use of taxpayers, that bridge could be still used.
So there'd be some cloverleaf on and off ramps and
Yes.
entrances?
It'd be kind of similar, probably like you see in North St. Paul at Margaret.
Yep.
It's going to have to be pretty
Unobtrusive.
innovative.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, the Caribou Coffee would be gone, but
So Caribou Coffee, the Dairy Queen? the
They
Dairy Queen
understood that.
probably?
And the Dairy Queen, those are not going to be popular decisions,
Yeah.
but they know that those would have to be taken.
Oh, absolutely. That happens. I understand that.
And then the future vision, and I could see the turnback being done in pieces. The interchange would be one piece, and then further south on Century could be turned back. But we need that to be a modern road.
Oh, yeah.
It's got to meet the standards of the cities, what they want, what the county wants.
Sure. How far south do you think you'd be eating up property? To Furlong's Liquor? Not that far, huh?
I think it makes sense I've advocated that 7th Street, that
Wow,
entrance.
yeah.
It would probably make sense to do that all at once. So the interchange wouldn't be there, but to modernize the road from 7th Street where that stoplight is, and then perhaps might make all the way up to 694. Oakdale and North St. Paul want to do a trail around Silver Lake. And there's DNR issues, challenges with it being a state road. That'd be the perfect time to get that done. So we can remediate a lot of problems depending on what we take back. And we're
Okay,
going to
so-
work hard on that.
So Oakdale and Washington County are well advanced in terms of the bike paths and all that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a friend of mine who lives in Woodbury, he's a biker, and he got on that trail, and he was just enthralled with it. He just said it was
Yeah.
so Nice. You got on that thing.
Yeah.
I don't know where he went from here to there, but
Yeah.
he'd never been on it before, and he thought, geez, what a neat setup that is.
Yep.
But somebody was foresighted enough to think about that, right?
Right. And those trails will be preserved to go from Fallon Lake up the railroad bed that's being currently used. And there's really an opportunity along Century. I can almost guarantee you that modern day road will have a really nice pedestrian bike path along
But
Century
that
Avenue.
bridge is going to be there, the walking bridge.
Yeah, you know, there's been fatalities at 36 and Century.
Yeah.
And with the interchange, we can eliminate those fatalities and make it really safe.
Sure. Okay, so another one I want to touch on is I-94 interchange 694, 495. That was just redone, but what, is it not as good as it could be or should be? It made a big difference, but it's still a pain in the butt.
We pushed for that to happen, so it was upgraded with some extra lanes, and it's really nice on 10th Street that you can now go 94 without having to get in the main, you know, extra lane was added, so you can go westbound on 94. So that is a nice improvement that will sustain us only for about 10 years, and then with the growing, Washington County is the 5th fastest growing county in the state. With growth, a cloverleaf design is not our future. That interchange is over 50 years old.
Oh, wow.
So we lobbied and got a study by MnDOT that's going to be done, completed very soon, and the findings presented, a flyover design. Now we'll have to put money together, federal money. It could be a flyover modern day design that would take us to the next 50 to 100 years. But we did that study to make it sure it works with our new bus rapid transit bridges, the GO line for the new Bielenberg-Helmo Bridge and the new 4th Street Bridge, that any future modern design will be compatible with those. So we're going to have that design, probably some design options, and then we'll have to go to Washington, D.C. to get Betty McCollum or our Congress and Senate, and they'll have to support a major infusion of money. We pay money to the federal government. It's time we get our fair share back. So we'll be working on that future design. It may take us several years to get some beginning commitment towards it, but what we have now is a good short-term solution, the improvements they made, but it's not the long-term answer. So we're working on that long-term answer, a modern-day design.
Okay, so let's go to COVID-19 hit you people just as hard as it hit everybody else, other businesses and the courthouse and the government and all that. So how did you, just quick answer here, how did the county react to all the stuff that was going on with the COVID business?
Right. Well, the county plays a big role in health. It's really a quiet, invisible layer of government, but our county's really in charge of a lot of health initiatives. So immediately, our county health department went into the nursing homes at the beginning of COVID, and our death rates were much lower. So they went in and vaccinated and created a safe environment at all the nursing homes in Washington County for a safe environment. And since then, we have vaccination stations in Forest Lake, Cottage Grove, and Stillwater. At the height of the pandemic, we had vaccination bigger centers that we've closed down because they don't make sense, but we do have the vaccination location I just mentioned. We did testing. And then now we're working with the schools to get students vaccinated. Everybody wants their kids back to school, and we're playing a large role on getting those students vaccinated. And shortly in the coming days, kids under 12 will need vaccinations. And our county will coordinate with the school district to get vaccinations out there. And we want to get this behind us in the rearview mirror as much as anybody. We're trying to do it smartly and safely. And during the time of pandemics, our license centers and our libraries, we had to be nimble and be creative, but we want the pandemic behind us for people. Right now, they can come into our libraries, come in for licensing, and we want to continue to have that.
Well, you did a fine job, because I had to go get my license, and it worked out just fine. I mean, you got to stand in line and you got to make sure you had a mask and all that, but it worked just fine. So you guys were really on top of it. Stan, I'm afraid we're out of time. Can you imagine that? That went 25 minutes or so, but we got a lot covered. We got a lot covered and we missed a lot, but we can have you back again. Try it again, okay?
Thank you, Frank.
Okay, thank you. That's all we have time for this edition of Oakdale Update. Have a safe and healthy September.